you doing, Jeremy? What's up?
I'm really good. I'm really good. I took some time this morning and did a little bit extra me time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I only get an hour, and I'm grateful for that hour. It's a great way to start the day. But there's today I got more like 3 hours.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful day out too today.
it's a beautiful day. It's a
So what did you do?
Woke up, drank some water, took my dog out. Usually I listen to an audiobook. Right now I'm listening to the Gene Keys for, I don't know, probably like the seventh time. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite books. Highly recommend it, by Richard Rudd. Listen to that. My son wakes up and I take him to school. So I took him to school, dropped him off, came back home, and went on a run, 5 miles.
5 miles.
Sunny Lake.
Nose breathing?
All nose breathing.
All nose breathing?
All nose breathing.
How's that going?
It's amazing. Our clients will.
Oh yeah, they're starting. A bunch of clients are doing it now.
I know, and with great results. So yeah, what we're talking about is just nose breathing. I mean, it's a simple thing, but the studies are out there. This book that so many of us here have read, The Oxygen Advantage, just talks about, how we overbreathe. We have too much oxygen in our blood, and that's not good because we do need a certain amount of CO2. The CO2 is the gas that cleans out lactic acid, and it preserves muscles from fatiguing as fast. Plus, it alkalines the blood. Just the benefits are amazing, and we're all doing it.
How do you feel? How do you feel when you're in that sort of zone of nose breathing? Like when you're running 5 miles. I mean, 5 miles is not, for me, is not easy to run. So, and to run 5 miles nose breathing would be, I think, so. I mean, I can't even imagine it for myself. Like, how does your body feel when you're doing that?
Yeah, so any running is tough for me. I mean, the first mile is rough no matter what,
Yeah.
but you get into a rhythm of just breathing from the nose, and it just becomes almost like second nature. I don't really think about it now anymore.
Okay.
Maybe the first initial couple times,
Yeah.
you might need to get used to it. And if you feel like you need to start breathing from the mouth, just slow down. I don't run fast at all.
Yeah.
So I'm focused on just all nose breathing, keeping a heart rate of, anywhere between like 135 and 150. If it starts getting like above 150, then, maybe I'll slow it down, especially if I'm going for more distance. So it's kind of keeping in that blue zone that we
Yeah,
talk about.
Okay. And then how does your body feel? Like now that you've changed to nose breathing, like what are the differences that you feel between the way you used to do it and now?
Yeah, so definitely feeling less exhausted.
Okay. During or after?
I would say both. And I switched all my workouts to also nose breathing.
Yeah, yeah. And how's your strength base?
I feel like my strength is good.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I've been trying it. It's just hard to get used to, right? Like, I mean, it's hard to because once my heart rate starts going up into that 130s, 135, 140, I feel the need to open my mouth and like suck in more air. But that's exactly what they say not to do, right? Because you're supposed to not suck in more air. You're supposed to preserve the lower oxygen content in your blood.
Yep, exactly.
It's interesting.
And it mimics high altitude training.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So Matt just walked behind us with, he's like, are we doing relationships, or are we talking about...
We're talking about everything.
We're talking about everything, but no, I mean, yeah, I think we are going to talk about relationships.
we're
Such a
gonna talk about
deep topic, so...
So, okay, so you had all this time this morning, 3 hours, and you, prior to this podcast, you said that you reflected on some of the relationship stuff that's been going on, and that goes on in all of our lives.
Yeah.
Right? So, what were you thinking about that?
Well, I mean, specifically, so I was just like in this very short-term, intimate relationship with someone who is a great person, but like I felt that it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work in the long term, and I kept asking myself why. And of course, like Jeremy,
And I kept on asking you why too.
Yeah, my ego mind is like, I got to check these boxes. This is the way that a relationship should look like for me, and I've been in this mindset probably like my whole life. I mean, obviously, I got married to the beautiful Tony, God rest her soul, and we were together for many years. But then after that, when I started dating, it's like, I'm like trying to check all these boxes and haven't really been in any sort of like long-term relationship. And I was like asking myself why, and I think I know the answer, and the answer is that I do like ultimately the peace and serenity that I have found just with being with myself.
Which is why you loved the 3 hours this morning too.
Yeah. And I mean, I think most of us.
Where does loneliness fit into that though? I mean, I could just say for myself, I mean, like, given my experiences over the past 10 years or so, like, I spent a lot of time by myself, a lot of time. And I was really lonely. And when I came out, I had some people around me, but still not a lot of people around me, and I was still lonely. And even though I had this work and I have you guys and I have clients and all this stuff, I still found I still had this like sort of deep, unsettling loneliness in my heart. I think more recently that's changed. I feel like now I have people, and a person in particular that has helped me feel not lonely for the first time in like a decade. I mean, and it's interesting because what you're saying is that a person doesn't do that for you. You find peace in solitude and serenity.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I need the other piece to, I guess, be complete. We all do as male and female, right? Like, we're supposed to connect to the opposite. We need the opposite energies. So, but what could be happening right now is subconsciously might not be the right time for me.
Okay.
I've been on this journey for, I would say, probably like full on for, let's say, about 5 years. This going inside, spiritual, connecting to my soul, really getting to understand like what's under all the mind created stuff, right? So I'm good with that. I'm happy with that. I'm content with that. Obviously, like, I'm on the dating apps, so I'm dating. I go on a lot of dates. I want that. Yeah. I want that. But I think I know relationships are just a direct mirror of what's going inside ourselves.
Okay. So you're saying, from what I hear you're saying is that something's going on inside of you that doesn't allow you to be in a relationship for a longer term period.
Right now.
Right this very minute, yeah.
But it might change tomorrow.
Well, what is going on with you inside?
Again, all this like inner work, all of these, mind created labels that I have still. And again, the relationships will bring that out the most. And I'm seeing it now. Like, I'm facing it. I'm looking at it and understanding what's going on.
So what about a person, maybe a listener who like craves a relationship? What's going on in there? What's the mirror telling them?
Be careful with craving, because it's never enough. That's why we get addicted to stuff. And I know all about addiction too, as someone who binge drank and then did a lot of drugs. I was always in that not enough craving addiction lifestyle. And now that it's totally different. It's not that I'm not addicted to or craving stuff, but it's definitely not affecting my life.
Right.
And I'm at the point, again, we're having this conversation where like you're asking me, are you okay to be alone? Like, that's pretty cool. That means I don't have too many cravings.
Yeah.
But I will say, yes, I still crave finding that person that makes me feel a certain way that just makes that could, I guess, elevate me even more. But I'm okay being patient. In other words,
Yeah, sure.
I'm not gonna allow it to not be that and disconnect how I feel about myself and the feelings that I have inside of me, the chemistry in my body. So in other words, like why this recent relationship didn't work is I felt the chemistry in my body changing in a way that I knew wasn't gonna work, if that makes sense.
Like how did that manifest itself physically or emotionally?
Just very like
Anxiety, uncomfortableness.
uncomfortableness. I wouldn't say anxiety. There was an anxiety, but there was just not that feeling of like excitement. And when I knew I had that, I was like, okay, like, because like she checked like, you know,
boxes,
yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah,
I'm trying to try to relate it back to myself because I do crave. I am craving. I'm thinking about what you just said about be careful about what you crave because I do crave connection. You know, I didn't have it for so long, and so now, like for me, I feel like whether it's a a dating situation or a best friend or whatever, or your soulmate, whatever your, I crave that now.
so relationships is what we all crave, definitely. But the difference is, can you treat that as just part of the totality of life and just part of life, and not make that determine your inside environment?
Right. I think that's the challenge is that you can't lose your selfness over it, your own personhood.
Yes. So in other words, just adjust your cravings. Can you crave gratitude? Can you crave understanding that you're in the now, you're in the eternal now, life is now. It's not going to be any different than it is right now because it can't be. It's impossible. We cannot be in another room right now. We cannot be talking about another podcast right now. Can you crave presence over even relationships? And I think that's it right there. I'm in the game of life. Look, I want the nice things, okay? I want to blow up Zero Dial Club. I want to help a lot of people. But honestly, I crave presence over all of that.
Over all of it.
All of it.
Even finding your soulmate?
If I find my soulmate and I can't stay present for some reason, it's not going to matter. But I don't think here's the thing. Why separate the two? Because here's how life works too. When you're present, everything that you ultimately
All work together.
all works together. Yeah. Right.
That's interesting.
Like, why even separate the two?
So what's the plan? Are you going to go back on the dating apps?
The plan is one day at a time. That's
Yeah.
always the plan. One day at a time.
All right, listeners.
No, man, listen.
You heard it,
Relationships.
listeners. Jeremy's on the market again.
Relationships are a must. You know, I wouldn't be able to make my program work without relationships. Like, some people on this journey need a program, whether it's church, community, AA, like doing the steps, what we're doing here at Zero Dial Club. You need community, you need relationships. You need to be able to express yourself and have conversations like this with other people in order to discover. You need to have good and bad relationships. There are no good and bad relationships because even what we consider a bad relationship is, again, it's you figuring out yourself. When you see your triggers and you're aware of your triggers, well, now you can work at processing them. Because again, no one wants to feel stressed, anxiety, angry, fear. Like, we really don't want to have that in our life.
No, for sure.
And what causes all of it?
Lack of
Relationships.
that's true.
Relationships.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Relationships. Look right now, how many wars are out there? All because of relationships. Right?
That's for sure. Yeah.
And all of these relationships aren't working out because of a lack of presence.
So not to make it about me, but I'm trying to think of
No, let's talk about you.
try-
No, we're going to talk
try-
about
no,
you.
no, trying to
So
think-
first of all, congratulations, man. Seriously, I'm happy for you. And you've put in like a lot of amazing work. Like for years and years, you went through something that most people out there will never experience. And you know,
But thank you. I mean, but like I'm trying to just like it's so hard because I mean I listen to all these audiobooks, all the gene keys, the oxygen. I mean I'm listening to all this stuff and trying to like incorporate it into like this new man I've become. But this part is hard. This relationships part is hard, right? Like because the baggage of the last. I mean I'm trying not to like turn the last 10 years into like this like lifelong trauma I have to like carry around my whole life, right? I'm really actively working at you know, getting through it and accepting it and sort of moving on from it and creating this amazing, joyful life. And I think I've done a great job of that in the short period of time that I've had out. Having said that, there is going to be some baggage still, right? And I think this is one of it. It's like the loneliness, the relationships, the like feeling connected to other people. Both from my old life and new people that I'm meeting, is something that is gonna be something that I need to continue to work on. Like I at first when I came out, I was really looking to fill the void of that loneliness with like the old people, like my old friends, my old family members, the cousins, neighbors, friends, whatever it was. And then I slowly came to the conclusion that that's not going to happen, right? For a variety of reasons. Like I'm different, they're different. 10 years has passed. A lot of things have changed. And then I started looking anxiously, right? Like, and I mean, the whole summer, like, I mean, it was like searching all over to find new connections, right? And I'm not sure that is the answer either,
yeah.
right? And so I'm grateful to have found a core group of people, and like I said, one person in particular that helps me get through this has helped me a lot get through this loneliness feeling that I'm still carrying around with me. And I'm just trying to think of strategies for our listeners and other people who go through this, because I know I hear from clients that they do struggle with loneliness, even if they are in happy marriages, or even if they are in relationships, or they're just getting out of a relationship. What maybe advice can we give them and me to work through this topic?
I mean, always starts with yourself, and feeding your soul. Feeding your soul solves that problem. So how do you feed your soul?
Spending time outside, meditating, working out, praying,
Yeah.
spending time with loved ones.
Yeah, there's people today for Rosh Hashanah that are in temple praying. They're feeding their soul. They're connecting with the divine. How about that? Like connect with reality, connect with life. Connecting with life will feed your soul in that moment. And what gets you out of that is, again, it's just a lack of presence. It's going into victim mode and saying all the things that supposedly you don't have. You don't have. Like, again, yeah, I'm not in a partnership relationship, but I live by the motto that I'm not supposed to be in one right now today. Maybe tomorrow.
And you're okay with it.
And I'm okay with it because, I'm feeding my soul, and I feed my soul through being creative and through serving. You have to be creative. You have to use your creative powers because we're all creators. And you have to serve. You have to serve the totality because we are one. We are one being, okay? So you're serving yourself. You're serving others by serving yourself, and that feeds you. That fills your cup. You're not going to be bored. You're going to have a lot more energy. You're going to tap into adventurism, dynamism, all the isms of life, all the good things.
So two things. So creativity and service.
Yep.
Right? So as we think about our listeners who are experiencing some type of loneliness or some type of feeling of solitude or maybe abandonment or isolation, which I think a lot of people do feel these
Yeah,
days.
especially after the pandemic, right?
Yeah, after the pandemic and this crazy world we live in, there's a lot of people feeling isolated.
Oh yeah, the elections separate
kinds of
people.
stuff,
Like
yeah.
if your neighbor's on the other side, well, and you only live with like two people, and you might be lonely.
Yeah, you feel lonely and you feel weirdly abandoned in some ways. And so so Jeremy's come up with these two strategies, which I think are beautiful. Creativity and service. And I think that for me, like service really has helped. I mean, if I didn't have the service part of my
Yeah,
life right
Utah
now,
GED
and
yeah,
and even since I've been out, right? Like even though like when I was inside, certainly the GED and the working out and the ESL and all the other classes, I mean that was really a big deal. But even since I've been out, I've been able to manage some of these sort of feelings of loneliness through service.
through service.
Yeah, and
Absolutely,
I
you're
really
training, you're coaching. I mean, we did 4
Absolutely.
presentations in
We
one
did.
day.
That's
That's serving.
yeah, yeah, and I agree with that as a strategy.
And then look what happened. Like I'm sure you were drained after, like me, but then you wake up and you're more filled,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you absolutely more. You don't have.
You're not lonely.
Yeah, you almost don't have time to be lonely. You not.
And that's the thing. That's the thing is like if you have time to be lonely, then you're probably not serving, you're not creating, you're in victim mode.
Yeah.
It takes time and energy to be lonely, actually. So you can use it for other areas.
Right. Yeah. No, and
And I'm not saying not to be in a relationship. That's not at all what I'm saying. That's not at all what. But many people are, including myself. So I'm saying that this is how you escape feeling lonely. That's how you break out of prison of feeling lonely.
right.
Understand your mind is creating this negative feeling of lonely. But why is it negative? Maybe the universe, God wants you to be in this state of just you and space and him and her, whatever, and the divine, right? And just feel it, and then connect to your soul. Do something creative.
And serve others.
Serve yourself. How about that? You can even serve yourself. That's where exercise comes in. That's where meditation comes in. That's where prayer and gratitude and all that
Educational
comes in.
pursuits
Educational,
even hard work.
podcasts. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like it. All right. Good. So we did do these 4 presentations the other day.
We did.
We have, we've started our corporate wellness program and our app, and it's going great. How did you feel after that whole thing?
I mean, it's great. We talked to about almost 50 people. I think 40 of the 50 will sign up, and we're gonna start this coaching for the company that's right down the street here in Independence.
What I really liked about it is like it was all of a sudden it was like we've talked so much about like how we could expand our mission and our values to a large number of people. All of a sudden,
It's
like
happening.
because we do so much one-on-one training and we
Yeah.
do two-on-one training and we do this like a lot of this sort of high touch, like and we're really proud of the work we do on the trainings. But all of a sudden, I was like, "Whoa, we're gonna touch 50 people's lives
Yeah.
or 40 people's lives
Yeah.
all at once."
It's happening.
And that was, I tell you, that actually fueled me that day, because it was a long day and we were running around and presentation after presentation after. But like I was like, we're gonna make an impact with these 50 people all at once. And here, we spend so much time one-on-one that like to expand it to 50 all of a sudden was like cool. It's like, in finance we call that scalability, which is kind of like a annoying sort of finance word. But what we're really kind of doing is like we're able to spread the message, right?
Yeah.
To a lot of a lot of people and hopefully impact lives and be able to serve ourselves and others, and impact a bunch of people. It was kind of exciting for me. That part
Yeah.
I really liked.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a big moment. Especially because again, like I already know that we're gonna help a lot of people, and seeing it happen right in front of me just verifies how life and everything else works.
Right.
It's awesome.
I mean, we've talked about this before outside of the podcast, but you've already seen in the future, like you've manifested that this is going to impact a lot of people's lives. So,
Yeah.
so for you, this is just like seeing it actually happen, right?
Yeah. I'm going down the timeline. So that's the thing. So we all have this timeline that we're going to go down no matter what. No matter what. It's our destiny. Okay? So knowing that this is part of the timeline, what are we fighting against? What are we feeling lonely against when this is part of our timeline's destiny? Maybe you have to be lonely for 3 years in order to meet your soulmate and have that connection for the next 25 years that's going to lead to something grand, right? So just accept.
That's interesting. It is coming to that acceptance, which I feel like in my own situation, now that I have a little bit of distance from it, it's been a number of months since I've been out, and you start to forget a little bit how it felt. I'm not sure I'll fully forget it anytime soon, but there's been some distance. I mean, both physical distance and time, and now that part of that whole journey is kind of behind me, and I'm like focused on this part, and so you do start to like forget that was so miserable because this has been so beautiful, right? And so, and I kind of worry about that sometimes, right?
So
I don't want to forget what it felt that feeling was.
no, you'll never forget. Again, it's part of your journey. But again, just imagine 5 years ago, where exactly were you on this day?
You don't want to know.
And if you're
I don't want to talk about
yourself right now,
Yeah.
could go back and talk to that Amer 5 years ago, and you had that vision 5 years ago. So you can do the same thing in the future. What does your best self 10 years from now look like? And have him come down to you and talk to you when you're ever feeling in a rut or lonely. Timeline. We're on this timeline. Use it. And by the way, that's how you go back secret. That's how you go back and heal trauma. You can take your version of right now and go back to any time on that timeline and have that conversation, and you change. Your
Right.
DNA changes.
You change how you view it and what that
It actually
experience was like.
changes even from back then, and the universe has, so we're not going to get into this, but we'll just leave it as the past and the future is always happening in the
the same
now
time,
at the same time.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with that. I tell you, the idea of even looking back 5 years and like me walking in with my Zero Down Club shirt and going to talk to this guy,
Yeah.
in this place, this awful.
How would you have felt if that happened?
Holy man, that's kind of emotional.
With those ripped biceps and 32 pounds, healthy
32
weight,
later.
yeah.
It's an interesting perspective, but it's hard to imagine that actually. It's almost too emotional to imagine that right now.
You could do it later.
It's a lot easier to imagine the Amer from 10 years from now coming to talk to me right now. I can imagine that, but like this version of myself going to go back into that place and talk to that person is kind of hard to imagine. Just being honest.
I understand. I understand. You don't have to do it on this podcast unless you
Do it
want
right
to.
now. Let's talk about what I would say to him. Yeah, it's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah. Well, good. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of great things going on at Zeroed Out Club. We signed our lease for Eaton.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. Eaton on Chagrin Boulevard in this fantastic shopping center which has Tiffany's and Lululemon and Anthropology and the Apple Store and Trader Joe's, and we're super excited about that. And construction has begun over there.
Construction has begun. We'll be open probably within about a month. And yeah, stop by, say hi, come in for a free workout, or just come in and say hi.
Absolutely. How
You
does it
know?
make you feel, like seeing the company you helped to found grow?
I think
like
about
this?
it all the time. I am like, okay, now fourth location. Imagine myself, let's say 10 years ago when I was at my worst. At my worst. And if I talk to myself,
Can you go back and do that right now? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I laugh. I've laughed. I
Really?
would laugh right now because I see how this crazy game that we're in.
I
it
can't wait to
works.
get to that place. I can't wait to get to the place where I would laugh. No, seriously, like I would like to. I mean,
You will, man.
Yeah.
You're hanging around here, you're gonna have no choice. Couple more
absolutely.
podcasts.
Couple more podcasts, couple more months. I'll be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I must feel. I mean, I know when we went and over there and got, signed. You guys signed the lease, and we went in and we were looking around, and like, really felt like it really felt real that day. And for me, it was I can't. I was wildly excited and emotional about like this new thing that we're gonna do. I'm sure for you and Eric, as founders, I'm sure you were going through all kinds of emotions too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And I'm super grateful.
Yeah.
I'm just super grateful. My gratitude is weird. It just comes in like different times. Like I could just be driving and it just hits me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, wow.
I can. That really resonates with me. I can relate.
You
to
know,
that.
like
I
when we were at the signing, like I didn't necessarily feel it that much, but then like, it comes later.
Later?
It comes later.
Yeah, no, I feel that too. Sometimes I'm driving home from here down to Canton, and I get this wave of like gratitude about my life, or, I'm out to dinner, or I'm just hanging in my bedroom watching TV. And I just get these like waves of like super emotional gratitude for like the life that I have and the people that are in my life, and it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, that's the main relationship right there.
Yeah.
The relationship with yourself and life.
Absolutely. All right,
Cool.
cool.
Yeah, we'll end it on that.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys. As always, reach out and we'll if whatever you want to hear and talk about, we'll talk about. See ya.